Entering last night's game, the Cleveland Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors were two of the hottest teams in basketball. With a 7-1 record and the second best defense in the league, the Warriors looked like they should be able to provide the biggest challenge of Cleveland's season up to this point. But within just a few minutes, the Cavalier lead was 18, and by the second quarter, Cleveland had built up a 40-point cushion. The Warriors had previously just held the Boston Celtics to only 40 points in the entire first half of their most recent game, but in this one they had fallen down by 41 points in the first half as the Cavaliers registered a franchise record 83 points in the opening quarters. Right now, the Cavs are posting the best offensive rating in NBA history. Yes, NBA history. And while I feel comfortable saying that probably won't hold up for another 72 games, the reality is this is not a fluke start for the Cavaliers. I don't expect the Cavs to shoot 50% from 3 in every game, but let's look at what they did in the first half against Golden State and identify the trends that have led to this perfect 10-0 start for the Cavaliers. So on this opening possession, the Cavs have Mobley spaced in the opposite corner while Garland, Allen, and Okoro are running through some actions. All the while, Mitchell is on the wing occupying his defender. But pay attention right here, because this is subtle but it's perfect execution from the Cavs to put Golden State in a lose-lose position. But let's rewind real quick and see how we got there. So we have Garland screening for Okoro, and then Okoro immediately curls to rescreen for Garland. And this quick misdirection is enough to get Curry completely turned the wrong way as Garland is now coming off another screen from Allen. So all of that happens in a matter of seconds, and it leads us to this point right here, where normally if you're the Warriors, you would want Andrew Wiggins stepping up to the nail to stop this dribble penetration. But watch as Donovan Mitchell floats to the corner just as Garland begins his drive, and now Wiggins has no choice but to follow Mitchell or give up an open three. And so the result of this is Draymond Green is now the only man standing in front of Garland's drive, and like I said, the Cavs are in a win-win position because either DG is getting a floater, or as we'll see, Mobley times his cut perfectly to get behind Draymond and draw 2 free throws. Now I know that was a really long explanation for just the opening play of the game, and I promise we'll move much faster through the rest of this, but it's important to establish how this Cavalier team is fully connected on offense, because this play was perfectly executed from everyone involved, and it's stuff like this that has made them such a potent offensive team. One of the other reasons Cleveland is scoring in bunches right now is their defense. We see right here Mobley getting a block, keeping the ball in bounds as he does so well, and that leads to a run out and an open dunk for Mobley on the other end. The Cavs are currently second in the NBA in points per possession in transition, and it's because of how quickly they can turn defense into offense. And so on this next play, we're going to see a hint of something that's really interesting that the Cavs did in this game, and that's placing Okoro on Draymond Green defensively. Most of us, myself included, would have assumed that Okoro would draw the matchup against Stephen Curry since, well, Okoro is their best perimeter defender. But Kenny Atkinson has clearly learned some things from his time as an assistant coach in Golden State and decided that the best way to defend them would be using Okoro on Draymond instead. And I'll go more in depth on that later in this video, but for this play right here, we see one benefit, which is Okoro can cheat all the way off of Draymond and pack the paint because Draymond is not a threat to shoot the ball. And so that allows Okoro to plug up any potential drives without giving up anything dangerous. And honestly, considering this is often how opposing teams defend Okoro, it must feel good for him to be on the other end of it for once. And by the way, Okoro matched his career high with 4 3-pointers in this game, so we're going to talk a lot about him because he is having a great start to the year. But that stop on defense leads to this Darius Garland step back 3-pointer, and guess what? DG is also having a great start to the year because he is shooting 63% on step back jumpers as of right now. And then what makes Cleveland so dangerous is that you also have Donovan Mitchell who can pull up and hit shots like this. So already we're seeing the Cavs are overwhelming the Warriors with their offense, and we really haven't even gotten started yet. On this play, we again see the Cavs ignoring Draymond Green in the corner, and watch as both bigs in Mobley and Allen react to this drive and get ready to pack the paint. This has to be frightening for an opponent to see, and it's what makes the Cavs so dominant defensively. Off of that stop, the Cavs push in transition, and if you want to see more on how Evan Mobley is growing within the Cavs offense, then I do have a whole video on it here. But on this play, we see Mobley's development and confidence as he handles the ball coast to coast and draws 2 more free throws. Okay, so now we're going to see the main reason that Kenny decided to place Okoro on Draymond, and it's because the idea is you want to stop Green and Curry from running their 2-man game effectively. That duo has been one of the best in league history, and so finding a way to stop that is not easy. So by having Okoro already on Draymond, then those screens become less effective, because if you're Stephen Curry, you don't want to use a screen if the result is a better defender switching onto you. So this tactic really disrupted everything that the Warriors would normally look to do, because they really tried to avoid having Okoro involved in the actions as much as possible. And that means much of the defensive responsibility for Cleveland actually fell onto Darius Garland's shoulders. Normally this would be a concern, but DG is putting together the best defensive season of his career, and he's all over Curry on this play to avoid giving him a clean shot. Curry finished with just 12 points, and while it was absolutely a team effort, I think Garland needs a ton of credit for the way he has accepted the challenge and become a seriously capable defender within this Cavs team. A few plays later, the Cavs are now using Okoro as a screener, and this is a nice delivery from Garland to hit him on the roll, and it opens an opportunity for Okoro to make one more pass to Allen for an easy layup. Okoro had 4 assists in this game, and so when he's playing defense, knocking down 3-pointers, and making plays out of the pick and roll, then you can really see the full picture of what makes him an impactful player for Cleveland. And back on the other end, the Cavs get a stop, and this 25-foot bomb from Garland in transition gives them an 18-point lead in just the opening 5 minutes of the game. So this right here was the first punch from Cleveland, and it was a pretty big one, but things are going to get even crazier as we progress to the second quarter. The Cavs continue to keep their foot on the gas, turning defense into offense as the Warriors are desperately attempting to establish themselves in this game. But at the start of the second quarter run, we see another example of something that I want to highlight, because Kenny Atkinson preached throughout training camp that he wants his guys running down the Autobahn, as he called it, which basically just means he wants them running deep into the corner in transition to provide maximum spacing and open up the floor for an attack. This is modern basketball at its finest, where Wade decides to run deep into the corner rather than cut behind the defense for a layup, and we see it pay off with another 3-point shot for the Cavs, and this philosophy of running to the corners has been one of the keys to their success in transition this season. A few plays later, we see a drive and kick from Ty Jerome that leads to another Okoro 3-pointer. And if you aren't familiar with Ty Jerome yet, then get ready to learn about him, because he is having a stellar start to the season. Here he is freezing Moses Moody on his way to the bucket, and a few minutes later, when Dean Wade provides some weak side rim protection, the Cavs run out and Okoro repays the favor by setting up Jerome for a 3-pointer from the same corner we previously saw Jerome pass to Okoro. So now things are really starting to get out of hand when Wade attracts 2 defenders on a kickout and sets Jerome up for another 3-point shot. And finally, when Curry decides to try and get this game back under control, Okoro puts the clamps onto him with a big block, and just as it has all night, this defense leads to a runout and a 26-foot pull-up from Ty Jerome to get the Cleveland crowd into a frenzy. Jerome scored 13 points in the first 10 minutes of the game, and that's already the second time he has done that this season. He's been providing a jolt of instant energy off the bench, much like Ricky Rubio used to do, and his shooting, combined with his playmaking and timely steals, has given the Cavs a massive luxury of being able to rest their starters for long stretches. So for example, when Darius Garland decides to start establishing himself again, it's because he's already spent 6 minutes on the bench and the last few minutes taking a breather while Jerome was running the show. So Garland still has all of his energy, and right here he bursts around the defense to set Allen up for 2 more free throws, and this was a sick hesitation move to get Draymond to bite in the air. We see another example of Cleveland smothering defense on the next play, and back down the floor, Jerome is screening for Garland and putting the Warriors in another impossible position, as both of them are on fire right now. The Dubs choose to overplay Garland, and that lets Jerome attack an open space and convert another layup. At this point, the Cavs can do no wrong, and so when Allen steps up like he's going to set a stagger screen for Garland, but then dives to the rim, it's another beauty of a pass from DG, and the Warriors officially look defeated. The Cavs have all of the energy now, and they are just beating up the Dubs on extra possession opportunities. And I want to stop and highlight this pass because a left-handed live dribble laser across the court from Garland is absolutely absurd. And if you're the Warriors in this position, what do you even do to stop the Cavs at this point? Darius Garland completely had his way in this game, finishing with an effortless 27 points. And this final steal from Karis LeVert and layup from DG gives the Cavaliers a 41-point lead entering halftime. In total, the Cavaliers forced 13 first-half turnovers from the Warriors, and they allowed just 16 made field goals, while on the other end, the Cavs buried 14 of 22 three-pointers. It was legitimately one of the most impressive halves of basketball I have ever seen as a fan of the NBA, and if that wasn't a statement, then I don't know what is.
Mercy! His own team